See, there is a normal perception that women like to go to women gynecologists. Now, you're here. How do you fight the taboo?
There's no real taboo, Rashi. So, majority of my teachers, including my father, I was trained at the very prestigious Navrojji Varia Maternity Hospital. I was at Nair Hospital.
Okay.
You won't believe it. Majority of the bosses were men. They were
Okay.
male, and they were dynamic. They were busy. They were so dignified. So there's a branch of endoscopy called as fertility enhancing endoscopy.
Okay.
There are various conditions in which a woman can have a difficulty in conceiving a child.
Yeah.
Uterine fibroids, endometriosis, uterine defects, tubal blocks. All these surgeries are done to try to correct the uterine anomalies to help in a woman having a normal uterus and
Yeah.
conceiving a baby.
The couple is not being able to, conceive, the woman. आप उनको सबसे पहली advice क्या देते हो?
So first of all, I would say, calm down. इतना फिक्र नहीं करना है आपको. You aren't only born to have a child. Of course, yes, it is important in Indian society. You are married, you want to have a family, you want to have a perfect portrait, a profile picture with your
Yeah.
baby. I get all that. But the first thing is make your life better. Work on your health. You before anybody else. अगर आप अच्छे हो तो आप बच्चा अच्छा कर पाओगे ना.
Hello and welcome to Rabbi Rashi Foundation podcast. We are in Bombay recording Dr. Ankesh Sahatia. He's a renowned obstetrician and a gynecologist. Done many research papers, scientific papers. He's the joint director at the Pushpa Hospitals and presently working with many different kind of hospitals. आपका बहुत बहुत स्वागत है.
Thank you so much, Rashi. So nice of you to call me and looking forward to the conversation.
Okay, before we even get into the deeper questions, you and your profession, I would want you to share your journey with us. How did you start? Why did you become a doctor and that to a gynecologist?
My father's a very senior gynecologist himself. So, I was at home growing up. I saw him so busy. We were basically raised by our mother. Our father, we would see early in the morning and late in the night. And, the little time that we had with him, it was great. And just with the doctor attached to his name and with the respect he got from patients. And I believe this is the way forward. This is how it's supposed to be. I didn't know any other way. And over the years, I grew an interest in science, biology, chemistry, and very good education, very blessed with everything. And everything where I fell into place, and here I am. That's how I could describe it.
Oh, wonderful. So, see, there is a normal perception that women like to go to women gynecologists. Now, you're here. So, how do you fight the taboo?
There's no real taboo, Rashi. So, majority of my teachers, including my father, I was trained at the very prestigious Navrojji Varia Maternity Hospital. I was at Nair Hospital.
Okay.
You won't believe it. Majority of the bosses were men. They were
Okay.
male, and they were dynamic. They were busy. They were so dignified. Patients loved them. They were so good at their work. Not that females aren't good, both are good. But there are so many male gynecologists in Mumbai, and so qualified, so decorated. And they've been, presidents of various associations of gynecology. So I didn't ever feel the taboo. Of course, in certain sectors of our country and religions, there is an issue. Some patients would prefer to go to a female, but with God's grace, I've been quite busy. I've been occupied. I've never felt the lack or the fight.
Okay. So I understand that you are into different kinds of, medical modalities. Now, what do you exactly do pelvic endoscopy and maternity, different kind of, health issues? How are you dealing with it? Why specific this?
So there's a branch of endoscopy called as fertility enhancing endoscopy.
Okay.
There are various conditions in which a woman can have a difficulty in conceiving a child.
Yeah.
Uterine fibroids, endometriosis, PCOD, uterine defects, tubal blocks. All these surgeries are done to try to correct the uterine anomalies to help in a woman having a normal uterus and
Yeah.
conceiving a baby.
Okay.
So there are various procedures done via hysteroscopy and laparoscopy in which all these defects can be corrected. They are non-invasive almost. There is very little downtime. The surgeries are done under very good anesthesia. The patients are discharged the same day as daycare or maybe as a 24-hour admission. Patients recover so well. There's hardly any post-operative pain. and most importantly, it helps them conceive very soon. So that's what pelvic endoscopy is, more of fertility enhancing surgeries.
Okay.
And nowadays,
Surgeries, you said.
yeah, so basically they're
Oh.
called procedures or surgeries.
Okay.
But the good news is that they are done with such non-invasive settings, and the pain relief is so good nowadays. Earlier, a surgery required a larger cut, a larger incision on the
Yeah.
abdomen. Now with endoscopy, it's like a keyhole, as big as a keyhole. That incision is there on the abdomen and the umbilicus. Or sometimes, if it's done via hysteroscopy, that's a kind of procedure in which you enter the uterus from the uterine opening, the cervix, operate in the uterus under endoscopy, under vision, and you're out. Patients can even leave in the same day.
Okay.
So that's what we do over here at my center. More importantly, nowadays with the current trends, women are conceiving and getting married a little later, say 30, 35. These women are prone to other problems like maybe blood pressure, diabetes. Some women have a heart disease, some are conceived by IVF. This branch is called as high risk pregnancy, in which a
Okay.
woman might have a certain medical disorder along with her having a pregnancy. And this is what we do as high risk obstetrics.
So tell me something. This is different from IVF.
Yeah, so IVF is a completely different line called infertility, also called as test tube baby,
Yeah.
where a woman is having an issue to conceive naturally.
Yeah.
And that's where you actually, you have to stimulate the woman externally with injections, extract her egg. At the same time, the husband gives a sample. We take the semen, the sperm, and the egg, we fuse them together by ICSI or IVF, form the embryo, and the embryo is then implanted in a uterus. So that's
Okay.
IVF.
Okay. So this is not a procedure, right?
IVF is a different branch completely, and definitely the entire process of stimulation and extracting the egg is a procedure, but it's a different branch of gynecology itself.
See the kind of knowledge you have, honestly, because you're a doctor. There are different kinds of research papers that you've indulged into.
Yeah.
Tell us about that.
So I do a lot of work in PCOD or PCOS. It's
Yeah.
very, very common in Mumbai or maybe in the urban cities. Every third or fifth girl is having PCOD. Now there are various kind of variants. They have irregular periods. They have weight gain. Some girls develop facial hair growth,
Yeah.
acne, pigmentation. They're quite stressed. In this modern era of social media and taking photographs and making reels, everybody wants to look flawless, but everybody can't look flawless. Also, the entire body shaming, the entire stress of gaining weight or difficulty to lose weight, the entire problems to do with hair fall, facial hair growth, acne, pigmentation, also the stigma that this woman might have an issue conceiving in the future. All this leads to a lot of stress. This entire syndrome is called as polycystic ovarian syndrome. So a lot of research has been done on how to help these women get regular periods, lose weight, and at the same time remove their stress. These patients also require a lot of moral, motivation. You require to pep them up to lose weight, keep them on a healthy diet. It's a holistic treatment. You have to involve a dietitian. So at some cases, if a woman is, really, really morbidly obese, you require to get a therapist, a good family member, someone motivating them because they are scared of various things. Now, unfortunately, in our country, a woman is made to feel that her duty is to grow up, get married, look beautiful, have children, and keep her family happy. But there's so much more. A woman who has all these issues has difficulty in working. She feels a little unwelcomed into workplaces. She might feel a little stressed. She might have severe PMS, which is premenstrual problems, missing their periods, getting bloated, various things. So the entire idea is to take care of her physical and her mental health. So the entire research has been on how to do this collaterally and help a woman feel better about herself, get regular periods, and if she wants in the future, once she's married, even have children more easily if she's treated with PCOS.
So I want to ask a very desi question from you
Sure.
now.
पूछिए।
Okay. ये PCOD पहले भी था,
पहले भी था।
ठीक है, लोगों को पता नहीं था. I saw one video where they said that किसी लेडी को अगर बेबी नहीं हो रहा है तो there are some worms in the vagina or maybe the uterus. This is the reel that I saw on Instagram. I don't know how true it is. But what is your take on that? Because people are just crazily putting across something nonsense out there.
So unfortunately, there's no scrutinizing committee or there's no trafficking of police on this kind of content. You can make anybody who has a camera phone, who looks presentable, can talk about anything, post a reel and make it viral.
Yeah.
It's quite sad. Even with the ongoing situation in the media and the tension at the border, 90% of the news are fake news.
Yeah.
Just like this.
Yeah.
This is also fake. PCOD only happens because of a lifestyle issue or a genetic issue.
Okay.
If a woman's very unhealthy right from her teenage years, not having a good healthy diet, if she's kind of indulging in junk food, fast food eating, high sugar, lots of bread, pizzas, burgers, less of home cooked food, using these fancy apps to order food and enjoying the tongue and the palate, and making sure that they are not having any exercise, not a good timing of sleep, no exercise, no workout, very very unhealthy lifestyle, such women are more prone to PCOD. Certain cases, it's a genetic component where the girl's mother had irregular periods, difficulty in conceiving, but mostly it's the lifestyle issue. It's a metabolic disorder, and it's more to do with your lifestyle, your diet, exercise, and sleep patterns.
So I don't know, but let's go to two-tier cities, smaller cities. There are a lot of misconception out there. Okay, desi ilaj karate hain. Kuch bhi, any kind of these, Tibetan medicines, they will just keep taking for no, या कुछ भी ऐसे. आप मेरे को बताओ, अगर आज आपके पास कोई 35-year-old lady आती है, a young girl probably just got married because marriage is also happening late now.
Yeah.
So what is, and they're finding the couple is not being able to, conceive, the woman. आप उनको सबसे पहली advice क्या देते हो?
So first of all, I would say, calm down. इतना फिक्र नहीं करना है आपको. You aren't only born to have a child. Of course, yes, it is important in Indian society. You are married, you want to have a family, you want to have a perfect portrait, a profile picture with your baby. I get all that. But the first thing is make your life better. Work on your health. You before anybody else. अगर आप अच्छे हो तो आप बच्चा अच्छा कर पाओगे ना. So मेरा advice होता, first maintain your ideal body weight. There's something called as BMI, body mass index. जो आपकी height के लिए जो desired weight होनी चाहिए, that weight should be achieved by diet, exercise, and sleep. People talk about various medications and injections to lose weight, but the best form is diet, exercise, and a good lifestyle pattern. People want to invest in the best gym and the best, trainer and the best kind of dietitian. That is a better investment than spending lakhs on an ICU in your 50s and 60s. So definitely get those best pair of shoes, get those best pair of headphones, exercise, go for a walk daily, workout, eat a healthy diet. And also in PCOS, I would say if you build your protein intake, if you have a protein intake in grams, which is equal to your body weight in kilograms, suppose somebody is 70 kgs, so 70 grams of protein is required per day. That makes you really, really combat PCOD. And आपका जो sugar cravings है, to eat junk food, to eat बाहर का खाना, will also go down. So definitely it's consistency. It's not a T20 match, it's a test match. And this is what helps you in the long run. You have to be consistent every day.
Now, we spoke a lot about, before the podcast, about egg freezing.
Yeah.
And it's really catching up now. A lot of people are getting it. But they aren't clear about the concept.
Okay.
Tell us that.
So if somebody is, let's say, in their early 30s or 32, 34, 35, and they aren't married, but they want to desire a child later on in their life.
Okay.
Let's say somebody is married and for some reason the couple is ready to have a child in their early 30s because of their career, financial situation, whatever. A woman has a biological clock. She has certain amount of eggs in her ovary, which gradually but surely reduce after the age of 35. So there's something called as AMH. It's your fertility score, tells you the quantification and the quality of the eggs you have. A normal score of AMH is between 2 to 4. So if you're 30 and your AMH is dropping to 2, 1.8, 1.5, it is the best to freeze your eggs. It is like a backup insurance. Let's say somebody is in their early 30s and they aren't getting married or they don't want to get married because of their career. Maybe they're in the film line, they're into corporate media. Just शादी नहीं हुई है या शादी हुई है लेकिन बच्चा नहीं करना है. My advice to everyone is do this fertility test every year, AMH. If the value is dropping and you don't see yourself getting married or having a child in the next 6 months or 1 year, freeze your eggs. You freeze your eggs once frozen remain the same age. For example, if a woman is 33 and she freezes her eggs at the age of 33 and she wants to get married at the age of 37 or hasn't met someone, when she's 37, 38, she can get married, try naturally. अगर pregnancy नहीं रुक रही है in 6 months or 1 year, she has those frozen eggs which are 33 years old, which can be much easily impregnated by the sperm of the partner then, and she can get pregnant. So it's like a backup insurance, and it's something which nowadays, so many women are into their careers and they haven't found the right partner yet, this is a very good backup to basically conserve and secure your fertility. Because the other option is, if you don't do all this and you have low fertility when you're finally married, the other option is donor egg, taking somebody else's egg, which many families, many girls would not like. Hence, I would appreciate if many women take up this idea of doing these fertility tests and considering egg freezing in their early 30s. Also, it's the best to freeze
Is
your
it
eggs.
only early 30s? Sorry to cut you.
You can do it in your mid 30s. So I would say the best age before which you could freeze your eggs is 35, 36.
Okay.
I mean, there are women who are doing it even at 37, 38, but before 35 is the best time to freeze your eggs.
Before.
For a better quality and quantity of eggs.
So someone who's 25,
Of course, they can do it.
they can do it.
But of course, if you're 25, you can
Yeah.
get married by the time you're 30, 32.
Yeah.
If you've crossed 32, 33 and you're not seeing yourself married in the next 2-3 years,
Yeah.
then it makes more sense.
And what about men?
Men, fortunately or unfortunately, are blessed in this matter. So just like how women have menopause, even men have andropause, which can show up much later. So that's
Much later as in
much
what
later, as
age?
in, let's say, a man could have a lower sperm count. He could have a lower erection and drive after 45, 50. What
Okay.
women have at 35, 40, men
Yeah.
have maybe 5, 10 years later.
Okay.
So a man also can freeze his semen or sperms. Also, various times when men and women have some problem of cancer, undergoing chemotherapy.
Yeah.
Before chemotherapy starts, they can freeze the eggs and sperm because chemotherapy will affect the egg count and the sperm count.
That's a great point, you know.
Yeah. So before any cancer therapy, this is called conservative fertility. This is a branch of oncofertility, which is cancer and fertility combination.
And how well equipped you are to do this if somebody wants to reach out to you?
Absolutely fine. So at our center, we do regular egg freezing cycles or IVF cycles regularly, and it's a basic process. You have to go to a reputed good lab and they'll explain the protocol to you in detail. We do it regularly, and it's something which I recommend for all the newer girls and newer women who are in their early 30s who don't see themselves married in the next 2, 3, 4 years and already closing towards 35.
I think the awareness is not there that much.
Yeah, it's
you
not
know.
so much.
It's not so much. Okay.
But it's better than before. Hopefully, it'll be better 5 years later.
Yeah, true. So, you know, you've also done an audio podcast with us about
Yeah, of
women
course.
health. Now, Dr. Ankesh, what is the biggest and the most silliest mistake women, you know, understand, you know, eating bad food, understand all that. But women do and they're not aware of, and they just start off their life maybe 25.
So I think women are very, very selfless. At least if I look at examples like my mother, my sister, they've gotten married, they've had kids, they've spent their entire time and energy raising the children, giving them a good life, living for them. Their life becomes them. Their child becomes, their home becomes, their husband becomes like the sun, and they are the planets revolving around them. So I feel women should live little more for themselves, should work on their health, should work on their careers, make themselves independent. I think women can do that. Also, when you talk about PCOS, PCOD, you have to, have control over your tongue, how much you eat, your stomach. Also, regular, I think India is now getting more towards fitness. You will see many men, women playing racket games and pickleball, paddle tennis, things like that. But this wasn't the case earlier. I would like to see more and more women into fitness, taking care of themselves. Not about looking good. It's about being strong, being healthy, eating the right foods. So that should come a little more into India as far as fitness, for sure. That's something women could do more. Of course, men need to, but I think if you go to a gym, you will see more men than women. It should be equal.
So, you know, again, let's talk about smaller cities. Talk about good यूट्रस हेल्थ प्रॉब्ली. ऐसे हमें बचपन में बोलते थे कि अच्छा खाना खाओ, बादाम खाओ, यू नो ताकत वाला खाना खाओ, तुम्हारे बच्चे अच्छे होंगे आगे जाके. यू नो बिकॉज इट्स अ वेरी जनरलाइज स्टेटमेंट.
Yeah.
यू नो ऑल दादीज एंड ममाज हैव सेड दैट.
Absolutely.
आपके हिसाब से जब बच्चे छोटे होते हैं, स्पेशली गर्ल्स, कौन सा ऐसा खाना खाना चाहिए? बिकॉज यू नो आई सी दिस इनफर्टिलिटी हैज रियली, यू नो, it's a pain now. Everyone who's 25, 26 getting married at 30, they are at the IV clinic.
It's
ठीक
very,
है
very
वो.
difficult,
Yeah.
yeah.
So what do you think? What do you suggest?
बेसिकली जो सही खाना खाना है वो घर का ही खाना होता है.
हाँ.
अभी आजकल लोगों को दे वांट टू ऑर्डर पिज्ज़ा, बर्गर, सैंडविचेस, ऑल फैंसी प्लेसेस. ये सब वेस्टर्न कल्चर है. ये सब अभी पैकिंग अच्छा आता है, उनके एडवर्टाइजमेंट अच्छी आती है, सबको खाना है, साथ में एक टॉय भी दे देते हैं आपको खाने के साथ,
Yeah.
एंड आपको लग रहा है आप ये खा रहे हो, आपको एक फैंसी कॉफ़ी पीनी है 500 रुपए की और आपको पोस्ट करना है सोशल मीडिया पे, ये सब दिखावा है, सब फेक है। घर का खाना जो नॉर्मल जो दाल चावल खिचड़ी बनती है घर की, जो नॉर्मल जो सैलेड खा लिया
हाँ.
आपने, वेजिटेबल्स, फ्रूट्स, हेल्दी होम कुक्ड फूड, ये है जो शुरुआत से रहना चाहिए। Nowadays, you go to the fancy international schools, you'll see the children going out somewhere. They're having all these fancy meals, a lot of potato, a lot of fried food, things like that. I don't even know what they are called. It's absolutely unhealthy. This is the beginning. अगर आपकी फाउंडेशन जो लड़की की फाउंडेशन है 10, 12, 14, 15, अगर इस पे आपने गलत खाना खाया, आपने वर्कआउट, आपने जिम, आपने फॉर एग्जाम्पल स्पोर्ट्स कल्चर इम्बाइब नहीं किया बच्चों में, दिस इज वेयर इट गेट्स स्पॉइल्ड, द फाउंडेशन. And let me inform you, if you are having childhood obesity,
Yeah.
70% of the people will remain obese throughout their life. Of course, there are 30% who can basically, transform and join some gym and
Yeah.
change their lifestyle. But if you are a childhood obese person, more or less, more likely you will remain obese your entire life. That's what we have seen.
You've been trained under Dr. Mahindra Vatsa.
Yeah.
He's a legend.
Great guy.
What is one lesson you follow till date you've learned from him?
I've worked with him, I've trained with him, I've met him a couple of times, had conversations one-on-one in his house. And I remember he was 94 then. And,
Wow.
and I used to ask him questions like, because my entire, the sexual health is like a very close part of reproductive health.
Yeah.
So I'd asked him, so what do you think, when he had asked us, what do you think is the most important sexual organ? So we thought he'll give us an answer, whatever was between the two legs and thighs. So he mentioned the most important sexual organ, the most important device for intimacy isn't between the legs, it's between the 2 ears. It's the mind. You can have someone who's absolutely, a beautiful couple and looking very good in their profile picture, but they'll have a miserable sex life because they don't get along. You could have someone who's in their late 40s, 50s, not in their best physical shape, but they are in love and they'll have a good sex life.
Yeah.
So more than sex, I would say intimacy is important. People think they want sex, but actually they want intimacy. They want skin contact. They want someone to love who they can talk to. So that's something I learned from him, because if that is good, sex will eventually follow.
Yeah.
But if that is not good, you aren't getting over there. And nowadays, we're having couples having this casual hookup culture and
Yeah.
sex, and you have these dating apps where you can, hook with anybody.
Yeah.
So all this is where I feel they've lost the plot. And all this eventually will lead to a very unhappy person. I mean, unless you find someone on the app who you eventually marry and fall in love with,
Doesn't happen. I
that
don't
maybe
think so.
that maybe is a different scenario. But
Yeah.
now it's become like more of the intensity game. So I have a few patients and a few friends who are on these apps, and they, they've had good times, bad times, a lot of unwanted pregnancies, a lot of infections, STDs, STIs, and no one's really happy. They're eventually happy to be with their friends and their family who they call home. Eventually a person, how much ever a person appears, cool and fun and wants to appear very modern, eventually you have to go back home, and that's where you get peace.
The worst part is that all these youngsters, starting maybe early as 14,
Yeah, it's
girls and
horrible.
boys,
Yeah.
they are just indulging into wrong practices. Maybe I will boldly call it sex without
Yeah.
any knowledge.
So
With us, when we were young, we were scared. They're not scared.
Yeah. So again, this the entire social media, and there are various parts of social media which are quite dirty and ugly. The contents of reels aren't regulated by any government authority. You can make anything. You can post anything. You can see a girl changing her clothes and getting ready on the camera. I don't
Yeah.
know what that rubbish is about. And then of course there's pornography, which is again free access. And everyone has watched once in a while. That's okay. But there are people addicted to porn now. Let's say a young boy who's 13, 14, he's watching pornography. He directly puts on the screen and there's action happening over there. That's not how life is. They feel that this is what marriage is, relationships are. But there's so much more. You have to woo a partner. You have to get to know each other.
Yeah.
You have to spend time with each other. And eventually, if there's intimacy and there's genuineness, it'll follow. But when you watch porn, the entire part is skipped.
Yeah.
And this is really bad for the brain, very bad for the dopamine receptors. And unfortunately, even the way you look at a woman, the whole perception changes. But of course, girls and boys both are doing it. They both are watching this, and they both are starting early with sexual activity. It's really not good for health. And I would really advise people to, somehow curtail this and stop all this rubbish.
So, what kind of cases are coming to you when we talk about diseases, arising from this kind of sex? Because that is something which the youngsters are not aware about.
Yeah. So again, recently, in recent times, in the last 4-5 years, a lot of unmarried young girls are coming to me. 19, 20, 21 for their first or second abortion.
What are you talking? Really?
Many girls with conditions like herpes,
Yeah.
HPV, human papilloma virus. So the sexual activity has become quite unregulated now. And sometimes they are out partying and they meet some partner. There's no condom used and things like that. And just, absolutely careless, no protection, no knowledge, just for the fun, just for the good sex. It is so dangerous, Rashi. For 5 minutes of pleasure, you can ruin your entire life, your
Yeah.
family's life.
Yeah.
And it's very, very difficult. Parents are enduring all this. And again, the dating apps and the freedom, and of course, not scared. If I had to go and meet a stranger
Yeah.
at someone's house or something, I would not do it.
Nobody would do it.
Yeah.
Like anybody sensible will not do it.
Yeah, and of course, there are a lot of scams, a lot of money also involved.
Yeah.
People are getting into all these things. I keep reading the papers, and again, it's it's the basically the lust. It's the weak mind for instant pleasure.
Mm.
In the earlier days, if you had to chase a girl, you could spend 3 months, 6
Yeah.
months, get her mobile number. You could go for a walk with her, ask her for a coffee. Hopefully, if she agrees for coffee, then you could take her for a movie, and then you could take it from there.
Yeah.
Now there's no coffee, movie. There's no plan involved before that. It's directly meeting up for sex, and people are even using it for the illegal things like prostitution, things like that, and it's getting bad to worse. I don't know how much worse it will get in the next 15 years. Only time will tell.
But when such cases come to you, do you involve their parents?
No, ideally speaking, if someone's above 18, they have the moral right and they have the privacy rights.
आप डांटते नहीं हो उन्हें?
डांटना मतलब judging हो जाएगा. I'm non-judgmental. I can guide them. I can tell them take it as a learning lesson and be careful next time. But डांटना हमारा काम नहीं है. देखिए, हमको हेल्प करना है. हम यहाँ संस्कार नहीं बांट रहे हैं.
True.
हम यहाँ पे मेडिकल हेल्थ बांट रहे हैं. हम यहाँ बता रहे हैं कि कैसे उनको आगे टेक केयर करना चाहिए. जिसको समझा अच्छी बात है, जिसको नहीं समझा fall again, learn again before it's too late. So definitely, डांटना आसान नहीं है, समझाना आसान है, and more importantly, nobody wants to go to someone who's judgy. Let's say you go to a doctor or lawyer who's shouting at you. You would be like, I came here for the advice. Help me, otherwise I go next door.
Yeah.
So that's how it is. So you have to help them in non-judgmental way, and most of the patients really get the message and they do well.
But I really wonder, why I'm asking this, because when I see the youngsters these days, they will do exactly how you just explained. Just go and sleep with any stranger.
Yeah,
How are they managing the expenses? Because all these treatments and these disease treatments are very expensive also.
So definitely there's a lot of money involved in all these treatments. But you know how it is when you have freedom, when you do all these things, you also indulge in a lot of kind of people who have a lot of wealth also. So without specifying and glorifying much, so these people are also not stupid. They are well taken care of
Oh, yeah.
by one and each other. So they-
Rightly put.
yeah. So money is not the main issue. I mean, definitely they're having some benefits from all of this. So money is not an issue. So they take care of themselves. Of course, there's somebody who doesn't have enough money. We even help them, but usually these guys manage very well because they are confident. They have a good backing.
Somebody who's newly married and there are fertility issues and they come to you. How much guarantee can you give for giving them the best treatment?
No guarantee.
There's no guarantee?
No guarantee at all. You can counsel, you can explain, you can get the investigations done, all the reports done. You can counsel them and give them the chances of success. So you have to basically be very honest. So Rashi, the first and foremost thing in any medical line is counseling. If I tell the patient, don't worry, आपका हो जाएगा, आप घर जाके सो जाइए 100%, I'm a liar. I can't do that. I can't sell dreams. You do the blood tests, you do the semen tests, sonographies, you explain to them the procedure, you counsel them, and you give them a chance of success, say 40%, 50%. 50% also is a good chance. And if the chances are looking good, you should conceive, is the best one doctor can say. You cannot say it will be done, don't worry, ho jayega. But as doctors, we know when a patient is trying and we see the reports and we're doing IUI or IVF, we know that this case is looking good, she should conceive. But nobody will say, हाँ 100% हो जाएगा. There's no one above God.
Yeah.
You try your best and leave the rest to God. But I think a well-counseled patient is a happier patient, and also there should be no room for dispute. Of course, every patient signs the consent. Some don't read, some read it. That's a different thing. But if a patient is well counseled, if they have the trust and faith in the doctor, then usually the situation goes off much better, regardless of the result.
Have you ever had cases where issue was with the man, maybe the
course,
Siemens,
of
and
course,
how do you deal with
50%.
that? But do they agree to it?
Of course, they agree. Things are changed. The men are so conducive to the treatment, and they're very adapting. And of course, if they love their wives and they would want it to work out. So there are 50% causes of female infertility. There's also male infertility. There's kabhi sperm defects, erection defects, sperm motility defects. There are medications, there are tests, but also these patients do very well with IVF.
Okay.
If they have a significant amount of correction required in the male infertility, and they do well. So we do a lot of cases because of the male factor also.
Okay. So what is the right kind of treatment for men who are facing such issues?
So when there's a sperm issue, the sperm count or motility is less, when natural sex isn't getting you a child, when they give us a sample, we can extract the fastest sperms, the best motility sperms, and inject them directly into the egg.
Okay.
So there's something called as ICSI, intracytoplasmic sperm injection, where we inject the sperm into the egg because the sperm couldn't take the journey itself.
Okay.
So again, it does very well for men.
Okay.
We've had so many patients, who've completed their families and even had twins, some of them, by doing these procedures.
There is a very common issue these days with, having low testosterone with men.
Yeah.
Especially after 40 years.
Yeah.
But they will never go to the doctor.
No, it's not true.
I'm talking about two-tier cities, where people are still, under that impression ki nahi main kaise jaun. Chauvinism is there.
So we have colleagues in Delhi, Bangalore, Calcutta, Chennai, and I'm in Mumbai over here. And the various conferences we have, there are so many supplements, there are so many therapies for all these problems. Basically, therapies also. There's something called as erectile dysfunction, premature ejaculation.
Yeah.
There are medications, there are testosterone boosters, there are Ayurvedic herbs like Ashwagandha, Shilajit. Also, these men have to be counseled. There's sexual therapy, there's counseling. There's even, Rashi, something called as male pelvic physiotherapy.
What is that?
Like Kegel exercises, certain techniques to build, erectile strength, monitoring their sugar, controlling their diabetes. They do very, very well if the diabetes is controlled, the sugars are controlled. Otherwise, erection strength is an issue. Definitely with weight gain, bad diet, having a pot belly, eating junk food.
Boozing, alcohol.
Alcohol and smoking will never help you in your sex life. Reducing them and getting back in shape will help you.
But all these youngsters, again, I'm coming to youngsters because I just see how they're just boozing, sleeping out, and they're not bothered.
Yeah, it's become very, very casual.
Yeah, very casual. I read somewhere that, let's talk about men for a minute, that they're into alcohol. And it's a very common thing. Most of the men do, But when you talk about women, initially, women never used to drink. Okay. When I was also in college, I don't drink till date. Okay.
Good.
And yeah, I don't I don't feel the need to, honestly. So
there's nothing much to it, actually.
Yeah. But when I see anybody who's 21, 20, they're just going crazy with it. All kinds of different kinds of substance. I want you to tell all those people one message, that how it's going to affect their sex life and children later on.
Everything. So your entire alertness at work, your entire alertness to conduct a meeting, to conduct yourself, is on your mental health. All these substances, starting from alcohol, let's say the hard liquors, let's say excessive amount of vodka, whiskey, scotch, things like that. Now there are so many kinds of alcohols and fancy European brands that people crave and they want to have that. Of course, and people do indulge in drugs. All these things directly take a slap or a hit at your cognitive ability. You can't focus, you can't drive, you can't discuss, you can't think, you can't complete a sentence if you're under any influence. and your behavior is also bad. It's not the best society that you behave in, then things like that. And of course, your relations, your work, your professional life, everything suffers. So, reducing the indulgence or eliminating it is the best way forward for a better life. Once in a while, you want to celebrate, you've had a good time having a glass or two with your friends, that's okay. You want to go party, that's okay. But on a regular basis, you want to be high, is not going to help you at all.
Because that's a great takeaway that you said that it actually dysfunctions your cognitives. You know, the alcohol in the long run.
Absolutely.
Yeah, and especially.
You can tell a man who's a drunkard, you can tell easily looking at how he's working, conducting
Yeah.
himself. It's horrible. What does it speak of you? It speaks of you like as if you're some trash.
Yeah.
You have no motivation to do anything great.
You know, I initially, women of my age, now let's talk about women who are almost 50, menopause. Okay.
Yeah.
Now, either they are working, women like me who are into different kinds of, running their businesses or into jobs, they're still stable. Okay. And I don't drink, so I'm more stable because I'm more aware about things. But I see all these particular kind of, one level of society where they just party, they booze, they are also menopausal, and they are into bad eating, or rather they're not eating. They're just having that one whatever little
I know.
piece of. So what is your message to them? What is the future for them?
There could be a hidden depression or something which is troubling them. Sometimes people excessively drink to even curb the pain. They get high to curb the pain at that age. Something is not toward, something, their family life, their married life. So definitely, I'm deep into Krishna Bhakti. I'm a
Yeah.
member of ISKCON, Radha Krishna. So I often feel that getting and diverting your energy and mind into devotion,
Yeah.
into spirituality, mantra chanting will definitely help you. But of course, you cannot take the horse to the water.
Yeah.
You have
True.
to come yourself.
Mm.
There's a saying in our bhakti that you don't choose Krishna, he chooses you. So in that case, of course, but you can definitely divert your mind, take interest into spirituality and come this way. More importantly, some form of therapy, going to a psychologist, going to a psychiatrist, getting
उनको तो
over.
उसमें मजा आ रहा है ना डॉक्टर साहब.
हाँ, अगर मजा आ रहा है उसमें तो फिर बहुत खराब, बहुत शॉर्ट लिव मजा होने वाला है.
हाँ.
Because alcoholism can cause liver cirrhosis, you can develop concurrent diabetes, you can develop amputations, foot ulcers, in your eye problems, kidney issues. It is a bad road downhill. So for a short time of pleasure and excessive party, you will definitely have a medical disorder, medical health issue. There's nobody who's been a compulsive drinker or smoker has not had a health issue. It's either diabetes or blood pressure or cholesterol or some heart problem. So you can give them a health scare, you can drive them into devotion, it'll definitely help them.
Now, when we speak about menopause, okay, there is a very common issue that I've heard people saying about UTIs.
Yeah.
It often happens when you are menopausal.
Yeah, of
What
course.
is the reason?
So vaginal dryness and the drop on the hormone of estrogen. The estrogen is like a barrier. It gives it basically maintains a very good pH in the vagina.
Okay.
And it also promotes a good kind of bacteria called as lactobacillus in the vagina.
Okay.
So drop in estrogen, the dryness, lack of lactobacillus, all these things basically make the vaginal barrier less of a fight against infection, and they end up getting much more infection. So this is something I tell all the patients who are nearing menopause to maintain their levels of estrogen, come for a regular checkup. They can go on to HRT in a certain amount of time, hormone replacement therapy, and have good probiotics, maintain good health, good lifestyle, and excessive, don't have too much of caffeine and alcohol. They dehydrate you. Also, maintain good toilet hygiene, avoid using public washrooms, maintain good toilet health. And at the same time, public washrooms, if you have to use, try and avoid, or you don't sit on the seat, you can squat, things like that. And if you're avoiding the vaginal dryness and taking care of your health, you should be out of UTI if the right guidance. We have a lot of patients who come at 50, 60, 70 with
Yeah.
UTI. So we treat them the same way.
Okay. Yeah, because I see this is a very common thing. Let's talk about vaccinations. Okay. You need to guide the viewers on, especially women, with some very basic important vaccinations. वो क्या होता है, बचपन में लग गई, उसके
Yeah,
बाद
yeah.
किसी को होश ही नहीं है. and there is so much of development now, fighting cancer, vaginal cancer, and all that.
Yeah.
So you tell us about which are some important vaccinations which need to be put down.
Definitely. So basically, when a girl is in the age of, say, 10, 11, 12,
Okay.
from that age up to the age of 46, there's a vaccine that prevents cancer.
Okay.
It's called the cervical cancer vaccine.
Yeah.
There are various brands. There's something called as Gardasil, something called as Cervavac. There's a virus called as HPV, human papilloma virus, which causes cancer of the vagina, cervix, vulva, anus, the
Okay.
entire region over there. Also, it can lead to certain throat cancers in the larynx and the voice box. तो HPV ऐसा वायरस है, उसके अगेंस्ट एक वैक्सीन भी आता है.
अच्छा.
So the vaccine basically fights against. There are 4-5 kinds of vaccines. There are 4 or 5 very, very common strains that cause the cancer.
Okay.
There's HPV 6, 11, which causes a lot of vaginal and anal warts. There's
Okay.
HPV 16 and 11, which causes again cervical vaginal cancer. There's HPV 16 and 18 again, which can cause a lot of vulval cancer. So all these things basically can be prevented by taking the vaccine before your sexual debut. Let's say a girl is 16, 17, or even earlier nowadays, as you mentioned. They take the vaccine. It's a course of 3 vaccines over a
Okay.
course of 6 months.
Okay.
It can give you a 15 to 20 year protection against cervical cancer caused by these viruses.
Wow.
So this is something I tell all the young girls, all the school going girls and their mothers to start giving them the vaccine as early as 16 or even 12.
Okay.
And once they've taken that and they're sexually active, then of course there's a little less fear of cervical cancer. Of course, once you're active, using a condom is better.
Yeah. Okay.
That's what.
Now, see, most of the women won't know that they have PCOD till the time they go to a gynecologist, okay, or a doctor, physician. Now, you tell us what 5 common issues to be seen in yourself as a young girl or maybe a woman
Yeah.
facing PCOD.
Absolutely. So if you have irregular periods, if you have periods which are coming at a difference of more than 35 days, the
Okay.
interval between 2 periods, the interval is more than 35 days. If your periods are very scanty,
Yeah.
and if you're gaining weight, getting scanty periods, if you're developing facial hair growth, acne on your jawline, if there's any hair fall, significant hair fall, significant mood swings, you're developing pigmentation on the back of your neck, on your underarms, in your groins, where the skin's getting darker, and you feel that you aren't having enough confidence, you get ready, dress up, you're feeling a little unhealthy about yourselves, and you really want to get your life into shape as far as your diet, exercise, sleep. That's why I would say you require to go to a doctor who treats in PCOS.
So PCOS also has relation to a good gut health?
Not
really.
directly. Gut health is an independent factor by itself. Of course, if you have a habit of eating junk food,
All
if you
the
have a
time.
lot of alcohol, if you really don't have a good amount of probiotics like curds, like how healthy food eating is.
Yeah.
If you indulge more in junk food eating, you will have a problem with your gut health also.
Okay. Now, Dr. Ankesh, I know you've been working for years now. Okay. Tell us about your achievements and awards, because why that helps, because people exactly know that you've been, you've been around for a while.
So I wouldn't want to blow my own trumpet, Rashi, but of course I've been very, very blessed, very lucky. God has been extremely kind to me. My parents have been the most wonderful set of people who are really, really been my cheerleaders. I was very blessed. I was having a very good schooling. I got into medical colleges on merit, and all these difficult entrance exams you must be hearing now, they were as difficult as they were.
Yeah.
So I don't know where to start from. So there's an international society called as FOXY, which is the Federation of Obs and Gynecology of Society of India. So I was very young. I was not even 25, 26. I got the award for the national conference for the best presentation. I presented a paper on anemia and pregnancy. How do you treat it?
Okay.
There was a new compound called as iron sucrose. It's an IV injection which you can take around 2 or 3 injections, like taking tablets for 3 months. So
Acha.
I'd compared results of tablets versus
Yeah.
the IV. That's something I remember. I was very early, and my parents were so proud of me. And my entire journey of getting into post graduation has been on merit, and it was so difficult. And defying the odds, I managed to get in, and everything has been on merit straight. Along with that, recently I got an award called the PCOS Champion Award from the
Wow.
PCO Society of India.
Oh.
So that was on our work, and our educating societies and corporate offices and giving lectures on PCOS and how to deal with it. So all that really helped me.
Okay, coming to this, there's a question that's coming to me, Dr. Ankesh, about test tube babies.
Yeah.
What exactly it is?
It's
Let's-
IVF. So test tube baby is the fancy name, is the old name for IVF, in vitro
Okay.
fertilization. When you can't
Okay.
have a child naturally, you extract the sperm and the egg and you fuse them externally in a lab, in a test
Yeah.
tube. And you form the embryo and you put the
Oh.
embryo into the mother.
Okay.
That's the
so
same
it
as
doesn't
IVF.
happen in a tube, right?
It happens
That's
in a
what
lab.
people.
It happens in a lab
Okay.
using lab equipment. It's not really a tube, but it's called test tube baby.
Okay. Okay. Now, I just heard recently that there was something known as a baby through AI. What is that?
So there's something coming up called as genetically engineered or modified babies. So this is still in process. They're talking about it a lot in Europe and
Okay.
America, in which you can actually design the baby externally as far as the genes.
Okay.
So I haven't done much work on this, Rashi. I won't lie. The skin color, the eye color, the features, you can actually form an embryo as for the genetics. Genetics has gone very, very far. How much it's actually working out in reality is something I can question. But definitely, yeah, there's a conversation starter. And genetically engineered babies are now being discussed.
You know, it scares me, honestly.
It's scary, but see, you can't play God.
Yeah.
You can't play God. God is the best creator, the best architect, the best designer. ये सब अभी बातें हो रही है कितना सक्सेस होगा, how the child will do, you cannot do. You can't manufacture a soul.
It's impossible. Yeah, it's impossible.
Nobody
Okay.
can. Nobody will be able to do it also.
Okay. Okay. So now let's do your rapid fire. Okay. Surgery playlist. Calm instrumental or Bollywood bangers?
Calming instrumental always. There's enough banking happening already over there.
Okay. Okay. A patient once told you something hilarious. You still remember it. What was it?
So this has happened around a couple of months ago. I was at one corporate hospital doing a cesarean for a patient. And the cesarean got done. We removed the baby. We're closing the uterus. And talking about the cricket scenario, about retirement of some big cricketers. Like, for example, Dhoni. I'm telling my colleague that, you should retire now. He's done enough for the country. And, why you should leave at the right time and you should, not delay. I'm talking to him and we're talking. He's like, yeah, I agree. They're giving his own input. And in the middle, the patient who's undergoing the surgery with her abdomen half open is replying, yeah, doctor, I agree with you. He should retire now. He's spoiling his name. And we are like, thanks, yeah. So we burst out laughing, continue talking to her.
Okay.
Yeah, definitely. She's like, yeah. I was a big fan earlier, but now I think he should retire.
In one word, what does success in medicine really feel like?
If your patient is leaving your cabin or your treatment smiling, satisfied, and got what they want, it is the best feeling in the world for a doctor. No money, no award, no reward can compete to the joy of a patient having a satisfactory end to her treatment. We pray for our patients, Rashi, that they get through, they do well for their and our peace of mind.
Great. One medical tool you cannot live without.
My sonography machine
Okay.
cannot function.
Okay. Okay. Your go-to stress buster after a long day.
Good music,
Okay.
family, home, my home.
Nice.
All
And
the good
Krishna,
things.
of course.
Krishna's before anything else. My day starts with Krishna, ends with Krishna. There's
So
nothing
you
else.
go to ISKCON regularly?
I try to go once a week. I chant the Mahamantra daily.
Okay.
And I'm always with the bhajans and the instrumental flute. Everything is about Krishna.
Wow. Okay.
I'm truly his servant. I don't see anything else beyond that now.
Okay, lovely. Okay. Surgery or classroom teaching? What's more fun?
Surgery, of course.
Okay. If not a doctor, what would you be?
Cricketer.
Cricketer.
I don't know at what level. I'm not as fit and tall as these modern day professional athletes, but definitely something to do with cricket, analytics, playing, being a batsman, coaching. You hitting the ball from the middle of the bat. There's no better feeling, no better sound than that. Nothing comes close. So if not medicine, sports, cricket for sure.
What is your last word to everyone?
Oh, your formative years, your years between the age of say 18 to 30, will decide what you will be from the age of 30 to maybe 80, 90. So formative years, the good lifestyle, good diet, good lifestyle, good balance, family time, making right decisions. As they say in the Bhagavad Gita, your karmas and your decisions define your future. So good karmas, do good and make decisions which are more or less sensible. You will do fine in life.
And one word from Pushpa Hospitals to all those women out there.
Don't take your health for granted. Get your regular checkups, your health done. Don't hesitate to take an advice from a doctor. Nowadays, it's as easy as an app and doing an online consultation, or following the right pages on social media. Please ask questions, because there'll be a stage where you can't even ask. So ask before it's too late.
Yeah. And your last take on AI in medicine.
Useful, good, but don't depend completely on it. Old school is the best.
It's the best. Absolutely wonderful. It's been a great podcast with Dr. Ankesh. Get in touch with him, speak to him, take some consultation. Even if you're not ill, at least talk to him, understand. There are so many छोटा questions that we really want to know. तो हमेशा लगता है डॉक्टर के पास आप जाओगे तो किसी डिजीज के साथ जाओगे, लेकिन आप ऐसे भी तो बात करके समझ सकते हो. यू कैन अवॉइड दोज डिजीजेस एंड आई थिंक he's a great doctor and he's a great friend. Thank you, Doctor, for
Thank
being
you,
on our
Rashi.
show.
So kind of you. Thank you so much.
Thank you so much.